Hey, I'm Wongo Okon, and welcome to another episode of From Soul to Song. Our guest on this episode is a multi-talented powerhouse who has made a name for herself in R&B. The BG County, Maryland native just released his debut album, California, featuring Yeah Ali, Ryan, Shot Infinite, and Chris Patrick. Welcome, Reggie Becton. Where and when does Reggie Becton get his start in music?
Um, I would say Reggie Becton gets his start in probably 2018. 'Cause yeah, 2018, that's when I decided to go as Reggie Becton. There were so many names. I really wanted to go just be Reggie, but just like to make it easier for people to find my music and things like that, because there were so many people trying to like be Reggie at that moment. This was harder. It was just harder for me to like cut through and things like that. So one day, my mom called me and she was like, "Yeah, I had this dream that you should just go by your real name, like Reggie Becton." I'm just like, "Okay, mom," or whatever. And then I was having a call with my publicist at the time, and she was like, we were trying to find a name. We had this whole list of different names, and really it was always Reggie something, but it was just like this playing around with my last name and trying to figure out what makes this, because my name to me never really sound as if it was like this great thing. And then finally she was like, "Why don't you just go by your name?" And I was like, "You think my name is fine?" My publicist at the time. And she was like, "Yeah, I think your name is fine. Like, just go by that." Because all the other ones just didn't feel right. And now it's like one of the best decisions I've ever made in life. So super happy I went with my name. And yeah, so 2018, before I released Phases, that's when I started going to Reggie back then. And it was easy because the Instagram was available, the Twitter was available. So I'm just like, all right, this makes sense.
You fell into place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, so far so good. At least everything seemed to have panned out well. Um, what are five artists or albums that have kind of inspired the artist you are today?
Mm, I would say um My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye,
Great album,
top tier album.
top tier.
Um,
Yeah.
I love Prince Love Symbol.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite albums. Many people don't listen to Love Symbol, but if you like Prince, you
Mhm.
definitely should check out that one.
For sure.
Um, I think Brandy Full Moon is like a perfect album 10 out of 10.
All
Um, India Ari's Voyage to India,
Mm-hmm.
that one is crazy.
All right.
And then for last one, what album do I really like? Today I'm gonna go with Miguel. All I Want Is You. I think that's a great album.
All right. That's a good collection right there. That's a really good collection. Um, so now I want to get into your music. Uh,
Okay.
so in a couple of weeks, you'll be dropping your new project, California.
Yes.
But before we kind of like fully dive into that, before that project, you gave us Thank You for Listening last summer. So how did creating that project and just feeling the reception you got from it help contribute to California?
Yeah, I think creating Thank You for Listening was one of those projects that I didn't know I was creating until it was like, all right, I didn't know I was creating it until it was created.
Right.
And I think with that project, it really kind of taught me not to put so much pressure and so much don't try to overanalyze or overthink the music and really just follow your gut. There were some songs that were supposed to happen that year and that this didn't pan out due to like different business things and things like that.
Right.
And out of that, it was like the pandemic was going on. So just like, all right, there's this pandemic going on, there's the social injustice movement that's going on, which are all important things. And it's
Mhm.
like I was trying to find myself as a person and also trying to find myself musically and how I fit in during that time. And a lot of it was just like delays. I know people thought, hey, maybe you should write a song about the times. And I was just like, well, that's to me, that's not something I could really force.
Mhm.
So I really,
Yeah.
really thank you for listening. Really taught me to like to follow your instinct and gut when making music. So that's really how that project came about. It was just music that really spoke to me at the time
Mhm.
and not that I tried to force or try to do for some like ulterior motive or because someone told me it would work for that moment. It was just music that I loved during that moment, and it it came out, and a lot of people gravitated towards it, and that just told me like, all right, just do your thing. Don't really over analyze it.
Right, right. Yeah, I've always looked at that project and just kind of the title and like the direction in like two different ways with just thank you for listening. Like, thank you for just being a fan. Thank you for, supporting my shit. And then also more in just a kind of a shortening the just landscape of everything. Just thank you for hearing me out and what I had to say in this very moment because I just needed to get it out.
Right. It was those two things, and then also like thank you for this song called Listening because it's like a song that started the playlists and things for me. So I was like, all right, thank you for this song as well. So like this whole layer thing, you know what I mean? So it's like cool that it just became this play on words.
So now moving on to California, what kind of inspired just the direction, sound, just the overall like landscape that you created with this project?
I think the biggest inspiration for the California project is really just me moving
Hmm.
and me wanting to become more personal and more vulnerable with the music I was making.
Yeah.
I think I started making this project maybe in 2018, um, which is probably like the oldest song you hear on it, maybe from 2018.
Hmm.
And it was one of those projects where like I made it like kind of in between the other EPs, and I was like, okay, this song is cool, but I don't think it fits. And I would just hold that in my back pocket. And then the next one, I'll be like, this song is cool, but I don't think it fits. And it was something that we planned to have out. Like it was supposed to drop last year, and then
Hmm.
the year before that too. And it just never really panned out. Each time we started work on it, it just wasn't like ready, or something would happen where it just wouldn't come together. And
Hmm.
I kind of just looked at it as like it's not time. And then this year was the first time it really started coming together because it really didn't come together this year either, but we kind of made sure it came together.
Right.
And I think it was also to me, it was just one of those things where like you have these three EPs, and now I think it's time for a bit something a bit longer, something
Hmm.
a bit more personal, a bit more vulnerable, and really like telling my experience over the last 5 years of moving to California. And that's like the through line through the project.
So now I want to do something kind of based on the singles and like just playing on the titles because that's at least what people have heard if they have by the time this comes out if they haven't got to the project yet. So for Issues, the first single, um, what would you say the issues that you're responsible for, like in failed relationships and things like that?
Ooh, in failed relationships, I'm probably normally responsible for not caring as much as I should. Um, I'm a Libra, so I'm very nonchalant at times. So a lot of those things I can just be like, all right, it's cool. I brush it off. Um, and also I think that maybe my communication is not that great when it comes to really. Um, so I think that most of the time I say what I mean. No, I say what I'm thinking. I just don't say what I mean. If that makes sense. So I'm always trying to disguise my speech or my true feelings in this Morse code or this Reggie code of things. Sometimes that doesn't really pan out the way it should.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Moving on to So High, features Ryan. What's your favorite high moment?
Ooh, favorite high moment. I would say it's so many good ones. But my favorite high moment. We took a trip to Arizona.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll say this. We took a trip to Arizona in the pandemic last year. There was a group of us,
Right.
and we had this like it was like this syringe. It was I don't know. We randomly went to this dispensary. We bought this syringe. And it was like pure THC or something,
Okay.
and they were like, all you need is like we call it a dime a dab in the
Mhm.
friend group, but like you just need a pour of some of rice size, like a rice size drop, and you just put it under your something. That's how it was, and we did it, and it literally had us high to the next day at like 5 p.m. It was so crazy. I'm like, it was just crazy, but it was a great time. We was in Arizona. The weather was hot. Like it was a pool there, so it was just like pure bliss. Yeah.
But there was a point though, like through that all, where you're just like, I don't want to be high no more. Like I'm cool. It's like this could
No,
really.
honestly, every time it was like, yo, this is great. Like this is just it wasn't so much to where you're like, I'm stuck, or it was like the right amount.
Perfect. All right, that makes sense. And rounding this out with Room 143, what this is kind of, in line with So High, but with Room 143, what's the most unforgettable thing that's happened, whether it be like just away from home, so like in a hotel or like on the move, something like that.
I would say I had a trip to San Francisco in 2019. And I went and it was me, my manager, and my producer. We went because we had a show, and my producer plays guitar for me sometimes. And it was cool because we had these shows in San Francisco, and then we also like set up the hotel as a studio. So we got to create some songs for California there as well. So it was cool to get out of town and be in the studio, like make this studio and record for a minute from home.
Getting into the, other songs, I think Scratches in the Mirror is just, a great way or a great metaphor for just like the undeniable realities, the irreversible mistakes, that you can make in a certain situation. How did this, record come together? And do you think there's a way to fix these metaphorical scratches, in the mirror once they're there?
Yeah, it's crazy because I forgot that we're getting closer to the project, and it's been like people starting to hear it. So I'm like, yo, we finally get to talk about the other music. So
Oh
I'm
no,
super,
go crazy with it.
yeah. But like Scratches in the Mirror is one of those songs that I wrote in 2018. So I'm happy that that one stood out to you. And it's honestly about a song about like a family relationship and just like that family dynamic of like I'm the youngest of my siblings. I'm the youngest in my family completely, even in my cousins and things like that. So I think like as a child, like you see everyone growing up and you start to take and pull things from different people and kind of like try to form your personality or form who you are as a person. And then it's twofold because like the same things that you like pull from a person, like your dad or your brother, you pull qualities from them and like try to inhibit those of yourself. And then they'll look at you and hate you, or not hate you, that's a strong word, but they'll dislike you or take a disdain for you for those same qualities. And it's like really you're looking at yourself like in the mirror. And that's what the song is about. It's like being like made in someone's likeliness and them not liking you because you're doing the things that they taught you to do, the man that they taught you to be. You have become that, and now they can't get around that because they just look at you as the baby brother or the, and that's what that song is kind of about. And it came together cool because it started. One of my friends told me, Jay, he sent me a beat, and I was like, yo, the beat is cool, but I really just love this loop. So then and it was literally like the first 8 seconds of the beat, that loop. It's just the first 8 seconds of the beat he sent me. And then I took it to one of my other homies, and this is probably like the year one we started working on California. Took it to him, and he made some stuff. And then one of my homies played the guitar. Then another homie came and laid a different guitar. And then year two, I took it to another producer that I started working with, and then he added some stuff to finally where it's like, all right, that's the version you hear now. But no, that's one of my favorites as well.
Oh, you put a lot into it, so it's dope that it came out perfect. But now it's a really good record.
I almost didn't keep it on there. It was like one of the last ones decisions. I was like, all right, am I going to keep it or am I not?
Y'all always do that. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to like artists and like I'm like, this is my favorite song. They're like, yeah, I almost didn't put it there. Like, y'all need to leave everything there at that
In your
point.
head, you be in your head.
That song also inspired another question. Have you ever been given an ultimatum in love where it's like it's this relationship or music, like pick one. If not, then to a lesser extent, how has just being an artist affected your relationships?
Yeah, I think that I've never had anyone say to me like, "Yo, it's me or the music."
Hmm.
But I think that, like you said, music has definitely impacted my relationships. I was just having a conversation with like my managers and like some other creatives that we work with, and kind of just like talking about how like we've dealt with a lot of death in our families this year, things like that. And it's kind of like how in music or when you're an artist, or maybe you even probably experience this too as a creative and a writer, where we are so like goal oriented and goal focused that like we start to count our days by goals. It kind of feels like so it's like when you check off a list, it's like, all right, a goal has been passed, like, and we're not realizing that like these goals sometimes take 6 months, but you just look at it like it feels like it took a week or 2 weeks, or maybe it feels like even longer. And then you're just looking at like you're not judging time the same. So in those 6 months, a friend may have had a baby, or a friend may have passed away, or older relative may have passed away. You like, damn, my head has been so tucked down in doing this music that I look up and now everything's different. You know, you look up for a quick minute, you're like, damn, nothing is really the same. And it's that's tough. I think that and that's in that sense it's impacting my relationships where I'm not attentive to everything that's going on in my family or my friends' relationships. I try to be attentive as much as I can, but it's super hard as an artist and just like trying to make this vision or dream come to life, and then also dealing with like the emotional roller coaster that comes with that and the mental challenges, you know, that like it's just a lot to like try to communicate or be even up to communicating with others.
Sliding further down the album, on this is a line that really stuck out to me, and I was listening just last night and again this morning. But on Losers, you say, "If we're not lovers, then we're losers." Explain that line to me, because I don't want to. I don't think it's meant to be like if you're not like in love, then you're a loser type thing. But I just yeah, explain that to me.
It's kind of just it's kind of like when you fall in love with someone and you feel that love feeling deeply. It's
Mhm.
kind of like if we don't do this, then we failed at life. Like,
Mm.
because I think that like our purpose in life is to love in general, like, and not even talking about romantically, but when you find that romantic love, it's just like, yo, are you telling me that if you tell me that if we go opposite ways that we'll be okay?
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
can't tell me to still be okay, I won't be okay.
yeah.
And that you know, it's just like the other side of love, just like you feel like you lost, like you feel like you lost in life, you
Mhm.
lost the biggest game of your life. It's just like if we're not lovers, we just quite simple, like, you know what I'm saying, just we
Yeah.
just losers. And whatever your meaning is of losers at that moment, it's that, you know what I mean? But losers is a favorite of mine too, so pick that
I'm
one a
picking,
favorite.
I'm picking the good ones. In the last year, what would you say is the biggest thing that's happened to you? And it's subjective, of course. Like it doesn't have to be pertaining to music or just in the last year.
The biggest thing that has happened to me, I think, is that I've started to, and I say started um on purpose, but I think I've really started to like tap into the man I am and like loving that part of me, and also like loving the talent and the gift that I hold. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we get as artists, you can like get into wrap your head around comparison and like comparison, like, oh, I need to sound like this, or I need to be like this, or I need to get to this level. And I think that it doesn't mean I'm complacent at all, but it means that I'm growing I'm selfishly growing instead of trying to grow for other people. I'm growing for myself.
This next one came up as I was just looking through, making final questions this morning, and I stumbled upon like Kelani just tweeted something. I was like, oh, this might be actually good for this. So it's slightly random, but I'm interested to see how you answer it. How are you prioritizing joy?
Mm, that is a good question. Um, I don't. That one is just like a layered thing for me, prioritizing joy, because I really don't do anything but music. Like, honestly, I just had a birthday that was like Monday, and really I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I celebrated it and I went to dinner and friends rally and I was surrounded by love. So it's not to downplay anything they're doing or anything that I did Monday. But it's one of the things where like to me prioritizing joy is such a like weighted statement, and like it's not just words when you hear that statement. And I'll say for now, the way I prioritize joy is by putting me first and like explicitly stating my boundaries, or like protecting my space and protecting my peace. Like something that's just like not bringing me peace, then I'll walk away from it. I won't deal with that as much. I think that's as far as I've been able to prioritize joy thus far. And I think it's because people love to like spread this thing where it's like, like you gotta put yourself for you gotta like take breaks, and I agree and things like that. But it's also like tomorrow's not promised and I gotta hit the ground running. You know what I mean? Like I like I told you, like a lot of time has passed, a lot of years has been sacrificed. So I need this vision and this dream to hurry up to get to the point where I can start getting back to the people that really, matter. And that, to me, that's when I like can prioritize joy, when I'm able to like impact the people who supported me throughout this whole journey.
Right. You kind of touched on it in that answer, but which is perfect because it makes for a perfect segue. When you are in the studio recording, writing, or just like creating in general, like what is Reggie Becton up to?
When I'm not in the studio.
Yeah. Or creating
Honestly,
in any capacity, like even like I know y'all like to write like outside the studio. So like when music being created isn't happening, like what are you up to?
normally I'm in bed, to be honestly. Like normally I'm literally just laying in bed. My room is like my safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big part of what I do when I'm outside the studio. And then also I still work a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So like right after this, I'll start getting ready for work and go to my 9 to 5 and spend some time there,
Mm-hmm.
and just think about one day being not there. And then honestly, like little things that bring me joy. I'm practicing guitar a lot. Every now and then I'll read a book. I'm a real big like self-help book
Right.
person. So I really like a lot of like self-help or self-discovery books.
Mm-hmm.
And then outside of that, I'm just hanging with like the homies, like chilling with friends when I can get some good time. I'm a big Marvel fan, so maybe I'm reading a Marvel comic or
Yeah.
rewatching something that went on in the cinematic universe. And it's real chill vibes.
Right. Okay. There we go. All right, this is my last one for you. And I kind of like to end, interviews like this just to because I feel like as artists, y'all always hear like people's opinions on your work and stuff like that. But rarely is it asked about y'all, like how do y'all feel about this? So with California, what are you most proud about with this project?
I think I'm most proud about it, one, being done. I think that was like getting into completion was such an uphill battle
Hmm.
and such a tough challenge. I feel like there was obstacles at every stage and there were so many delays. And I feel like, just sticking to the vision and getting it done.
Right.
Uh, is a big accomplishment in itself. I
Hmm.
think I'm proud of myself for being as vulnerable as I did on the project and really allowing myself to write what I was feeling and like don't run from those emotions. I feel like with my other projects that there was a lot of like, all right, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say this. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe this person will know that I'm talking about them, or this person will put it together, and then people will ask me like, who is this about? Who was this about? And to me, that's one of the worst things you can ask an artist. Like, who is this about? Like, I gave you the song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I gave you the song. Do
Right.
what you want. Do what you want, and put the details in your head, your mind together, how you figure it out. But don't ask me. Like if I wanted you to know who exactly what it was, I would have wrote about it. But back to the question, I think that, and I think it's just also I think the 12 songs on the project, like really do well to tell a story about how my 5 years has been in California and sum it up well. And I also think that I'm proud that I didn't allow my vision to
Mhm.
change or be tainted. And when I say tainted, I don't mean in a bad thing, but just like allow the vision for this particular project to be caught up in the politics and the different things in the music industry. Like while creating this project, my career was progressing and there was a lot of new producers and things like that that I was able to like work with and tap in with. And I didn't really use any of those songs or any of those things on this project just yet, because this project wasn't about like making something that would fit on a playlist or
Mhm.
making something that sounds like the R&B of today. It's kind of like, like, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but like when you hear something, you're like, okay, this is in line with like listening. To me, listening is in line with like the R&B of today. And I think that's why so many people gravitated towards it, because it sounds like what's out today. And it's not a bad thing at all. But I think with this project, there's nothing that really sounds like listening. There's nothing that really sounds like those type of songs that where you just know people will automatically fall in love with. And I'm happy that I stayed to the vision of creating something that one I love and that one I thought was that encompassed me as an artist for my first project.
Mhm.
And I think that it's still me like playing in this playground without having to deal with those nuances and those political things of like having someone in your ear like, yo, we need a single, yo, we need this, yo, we need that. Like it's just me saying, yo, I love this, let's go with this. And granted, there are songs that sound like singles, like Issues and So High. Those are all songs that were written for this project, and I'm like, all right, this sounds like a single, let's put this one out first. But the rest of the songs are more so like all album cuts and really just like
Mhm.
vibe. I don't want to say it's not vibey music because I think that puts this thing in people's head, but it's just like it's a very eclectic sound as a project overall. Like it's a different coloring, it's a different coloring book. And I'll sum it up with the analogy I gave my producer when we were talking about it. I was like, you can create a great you can paint a great picture using 3 colors in the coloring in the Crayola box, or you can paint a great picture using 15. You know what I mean? Like it's just how you
Yeah.
put together. And I think that I'm still in this area where I'm like, I like using more colors than less. And slowly but surely we'll narrow it down to where I'm only using blue and orange, to paint my picture. But I think right now it's still exploration, still just having fun and finding myself through it all.
Reggie Becton, thank you very much.
No
I
problem. Thank
appreciate
you.
I appreciate you taking time for this.
No, man,
Congratulations
it's
on
an
the new
honor.
project. Can't wait for the rest of the world to hear it. And you enjoy the rest of your day.
You do the same. Appreciate you. Thanks for always showing some love and support. Love your writing.
Always,
Definitely
always,
one of my
always.
favorites. So definitely want to give you your
I appreciate
flowers.
that. I appreciate
Keep
that,
up the great
honestly.
work. Super
Thank you.
excited to see where you take it.
For sure. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No problem.
I'll catch you.